Today, Sylvie and I are in the beautiful Northamptonshire village of Yardley Hastings, which is situated about 3 miles to the east of the county town of Northampton. Yardley Hastings is idyllic and beautiful with its old traditional stone-built cottages. So Sylvie and I are going to take a walk around the village before we set off on our main walk. And at this time of the year, the cottage gardens are ablaze with beautiful flower displays. One notable and historic character who came from the village is a man by the name of Thomas Dudley, who was born here in 1576. In 1630, he sailed to New England and became the governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. It's also remarkable to think that Yardley Hastings was hit by a powerful tornado back in November 1981. As we walk round the village, we try and visit St Andrew's Church, but sadly it wasn't open, so we carried on. Well, with our tour of the village over, we head off on our walk. We're actually heading into one of the village's little side streets where, according to my Ordnance Survey map, we should find a footpath that'll take us out across the fields. Well, just as we try and find that footpath, Sylvie spots something. Amazingly, someone has a large life-size model giraffe standing in their front garden. Well, just when you thought you'd seen it all. We finally located the footpath at a place called Glebe Farm, so off we go. path brings us to a gate which takes us out into a massive meadow. As we get halfway across, we soon find that we're not alone in the meadow. And one of the critters here has taken an interest in me.
Oh, mate.
I guess he's fed up with eating grass and wants to try something else.
Yeah, no you don't. Right, go on. Oh, go on. Away you go.
Well, as we try and flee from these carnivorous cows, we hit a snag. Sylvie can't open the gate. Well, with a bit of brute force, we opened it. So now we continue along the footpath. After about a mile, the footpath brings us to a gap in a large hedgerow. As we pass through and climb over the stile, the path brings us onto the great avenue of Castle Ashby. We cross over the avenue and follow the path down the other side. Eventually this brings us onto a lane that cuts across the avenue, so we climb over a stile to keep following the path. The path here cuts through a field of barley, which looks amazing, topped with its feathery heads. Sylvie couldn't resist the temptation to run her hands through the barley. I'm sure I've seen this in a film somewhere. When we reach the top of the barley field, we have to climb over another stile. I'm sure I could make a whole video about every gate or stile that Sylvie has a problem with. We cross over the neighbouring meadow and eventually come to the outskirts of Castle Ashby village. We then climb over another stile and onto the road, but at least Sylvie didn't have any problems with this one. One of the features of this village are these rows of very eye-catching terracotta-coloured cottages. We eventually enter the village, but before we go anywhere, Sylvie and I are stopping for refreshments. This old stable yard has been transformed into a mall containing some very interesting shops and cafes. This delicatessen sells a wide range of locally produced food and drink, and some of the other shops are galleries and craft shops. The village was built purely to service the needs of the castle, and the castle itself was built in 1574, replacing an earlier medieval manor house. In 1600, Elizabeth I visited the castle, which was the seat of the Marquess of Northampton. Although the castle isn't open to the public, the beautiful Grade 1 listed gardens are, and they are well worth a visit. Sylvie and I are setting off on the next stage of our walk along Castle Road. We pass the Falcon Hotel as we exit the village. We head down the hill and turn right at the junction, and here we come across an unusual house, which has become a chicken sanctuary. Well, we carry on along that road towards our next destination, the village of Grendon. A short distance along the road we come to a series of lakes, and these form part of the Castle Ashby estate. And originally they were small ponds, but they were enlarged in the 1760s by the renowned landscape architect Lancelot Capability Brown, and they are currently used by the local fishing club. We continue along the road until we reach Grendon. The name Grendon means green hill, although at this time of the year it's a mix of green and yellow. Many of the older properties in the village are built with a local traditional limestone, and the village itself was once owned by a niece of William the Conqueror, and it gained notoriety in 1876 when a battle broke out here between local farmers and the workers over water rights. Well, there wasn't a great deal to see in Grendon, so we headed out on the road back towards Yardley Hastings. After about 4 miles, we eventually arrived back in Yardley Hastings. As we come back into the village, we spot a sign pointing the way to a pub. Well, it's a warm day. We find the pub in a side street just off the village square. A couple of cold beers are going to be very welcome after our 9-mile walk.
I can't wait.
Well, after that, we're now setting off for home. Anyway, we hope to see you next time.